Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting and Committee of the Whole meeting. I kindly ask our City Clerk to focus on Antonori's pager. Everything, since all the firefighters are here, is everything okay, Chief? Okay, good. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Bowring,
Here.
Bruno,
Bruno here.
Ruby,
Here.
Kilberg,
Here.
Kasserag,
Here.
Maladra,
Here.
Marks,
Here.
Mayor, Paschke,
Here.
Swanson.
Here. We begin our City Council meetings, folks, with the Pledge of Allegiance. It would be my honor if the following: Matthew Lose, Robert Moore, and Scott Rutenberg would lead us in the pledge. And we will follow your lead. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We have lots of ceremonial activity this evening, and it's always fun to participate in such. Our first order of business is to recognize a couple firefighters who are being promoted. I'd like to invite our friend Matt Lose to the podium. Take your time. I had the honor of meeting your daughters earlier. You okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for the next.
No, it's all good. Katie
I'm
and Ashley,
waiting.
oh my God, it was delightful. They pulled up at about, what, 4:30? I heard it was going to be a big barnstorming of a party, and I understand you recently spent a week up in Minneapolis, Twin Cities?
Yep, we did. Got
This is going to be a long night.
I could make it as long or as short as you want. Yeah, no, we spent a weekend up in Minneapolis and
awesome.
got the campus tour. It's pretty impressive.
It's a neat place, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's really cool. So these are notes that you provided, and apparently you like to say a lot because this is 4 pages. It's like, Mayor, Mr. Lose grew up in Downers Grove. Graduated Downers Grove South in 1994. My fire service career began in 1997 when the Captain Joe Clutchy took a chance on a barely 21-year-old.
Clutchy.
Is he here?
He is.
Where is he? Sorry, Jim. Say it again. Clutchy. My apologies. I heard you had passed, so I didn't think it mattered. So it's like, Clutchy took a chance on a barely 21-year-old to become a paid-on-call firefighter. This is like an Agatha Christie novel, for God's sake. Did you write this?
I did. With the help of my wife.
Well, okay. Paid-on-call firefighter for the South Elgin and Countryside Fire Protection District, where I served the community until 2010. My dreams of becoming a career firefighter were fulfilled in 1999 when the former chief of Geneva's fire department, Steve Olson, called on a landline. You are old, man.
Got to embrace it.
And offered me a full-time job with Geneva. It was a dream come true. To date, I have proudly served, check this out, folks, the city of Geneva for 24 years. More than 24 years.
Yes.
In January of 2015, I was promoted to the rank of lieutenant. I've served the city of Geneva in this capacity for 8 years. Since taking a company officer leadership role in the department, I have obtained my bachelor's degree in fire administration through Columbia Southern. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I am currently working towards my master's degree. That's pretty cool. In fire executive. I readily admit I did not know there was such a degree.
It's executive leadership fire with a side of public administration.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow. You expect to complete that degree in 2025.
Yes.
In addition to the baccalaureate degree, I hold an associate's degree from College of DuPage, great place. Additionally, I've participated in advanced coursework training through the National Fire Academy, most recently in May of 2023,
Yes.
just last month.
Just last week.
Last week. Hey, Clutchy, does this guy ever be quiet, or? I know it's Clutchy, I'm just teasing you. Now, you completed advanced training through the new Executive Chief Officer Program.
Yes.
What's that all about?
It's kind of a spinoff of the Executive Fire Officer.
Okay.
So it's a one-week class where it's all executives from fire departments across the United States.
Oh,
So
really?
One of the best classes I've ever taken out there.
Wow.
It was amazing. I walked in as a lieutenant, and then I walked out as a deputy chief.
And how much is that tuition?
I'm sorry?
How much is that tuition? I'm kidding you.
The federal government pays for it.
Is that the day I saw you, regrettably,
is.
that sad day?
Maybe.
Maybe. No, it wasn't a sad day because I saw you.
That's what
It was a sad day because it was a sad day. On May 28th, you were promoted
Yes.
to deputy chief after a rigorous, who wrote this? A rigorous interview process. And by the way, one of your interviewees is here tonight.
They are?
Yes, Mr. Augustine is here. I don't know if any other members of the commission are here, but Mr. Augustine is over your right shoulder. You may remember him, the other right shoulder. You may remember, toward the back. You may remember him from the interview process. I'd like to read what he said about you. I'm just kidding. That's pretty cool, man. I learned, these are your words, I learned that I would be the 4th Deputy Chief of Operations and the 5th Deputy Chief the Geneva Fire Department has ever had. Pretty cool. On a personal note, I live in Batavia with my wife, Melissa Groot. My wife and I both proudly serve the city of Geneva in different capacities as she works for the Geneva School District as the Assistant Director of Student Services. Now, where is Melissa? Oh, there you are. You were sitting over here. Katie, who just turned 21 on April 24th. Those are my notes because we talked earlier, right? Ashley, who's 19, her birthday is November 16th. Correct? You get your talking to this from your dad. Studying, oh, check this out. Now you say that Katie is studying super nerd stuff.
That's the only way I could describe it.
Chemistry. You want to be a chemistry major? Yes. Can you rattle off the inert gases?
That was fun.
Ashley, who is 20 and works as a certified nurse assistant. Well, that's cool. You didn't say that earlier. That's awesome. This is from the deputy chief. I spend my personal time working on homework, fishing, and ice fishing on Lake Winnebago, Wisconsin. And this is by choice.
Oh, absolutely.
And spending time with friends and family. Who wrote that? Over the past 24 years, I have had the privilege of working with some of the best in the department and locally. I have worked actively to develop strong collaborative relationships with members of our department and other local departments. I will miss the camaraderie of working on shift with my coworkers and note it is going to be a transition to working a regular 9 to 5. It is, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt.
Because right now it's 24 on, 48 off.
Yes.
Have you transitioned so already, or no? Not until the swearing in? Do you begin, or do
No,
you
I
begin on
began
May
last-
28th, right?
Yeah, last week.
So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is it nice to rely on those times?
Yeah, it's nice to have him home every night.
Let's go back to the friends and family comment in the paragraph above. I look forward to supporting Chief Antonori in furthering this mission. That is called obsequious. Do you know what obsequious is?
It's not my word.
That's not your word? Folks, you have a ghostwriter. Humbled, honored, and privileged to serve Geneva Fire Department Well, I tell you, it's pretty cool, man. I remember when I saw you that night, the chief had whispered to me that you were just promoted, so I know it's something you've always desired, a career in the fire service. You've obviously excelled. What's your message to some of the younger firefighters who are either with us tonight or perhaps tuning in and wondering, good Lord, what's it take to stick around so long?
Hard work, dedication, loyalty, perseverance is huge.
How important is the family?
Family is important, and keeping a good balance between family and work life.
Indeed. Mom, what do you think? Well, not his mom, you mom, as in Katie and Ashley's mom. What do you think about all this? Stepmom. Stepmom. Well, that's, hey, what the stepmom, mom? What do you think about all this?
I'm extremely proud.
Yeah.
He's worked very hard at this.
Anyone from the council? Any comments or questions for? I'm sorry, your name again. After reading that diary, I feel.
Making me sweat. I don't normally
Why
sweat
are you
this
so-
much.
Why are you so hot?
I don't normally sweat like this.
Good Lord, man. Any additional words you want to share before we administer the oath?
No, looking forward to the future, and moving the department forward with the chief.
Well, we're very proud of you, so I would like to invite you to invite whomever you'd like to join you as we administer the oath to you. And just join us here in the middle of the floor.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah.
Kindly ask that you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Matthew J. Lose, having been promoted to the position of Deputy Fire Chief in the City of Geneva, County of Kane, aforesaid, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, the Geneva Code of Ordinances, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of Deputy Chief according to the best of my abilities. Congratulations. Thank you. Chief Antonelli has a presentation as well. Be careful, he's very sweaty.
We'll need you to sign your oath to make it official. Just sign right there. Wow.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I look forward to it.
Robert Moore, Mr. Moore.
I'm just as sweaty, FYI.
Are you hot too?
Yeah, a little-
It's
little bit.
kinda-
Yep.
it's a little warm in here, but.
You know,
So I forgot to ask Deputy Chief this, but your middle initial is W. What's the W stand for?
William.
William, there you go, man. Being promoted tonight to lieutenant. You currently call Sandwich, Illinois home. lake holiday to be specific.
Yes.
Is every day a holiday on the lake?
It is.
Is it lovely?
It's lovely.
What's your commute?
45 to 50 minutes.
Is that right? That's if you go the speed limit?
30 minutes if I don't.
Born in beautiful Homestead, Florida, and moved to Illinois in 1997.
Yes.
Attended Yorkville High School, the Foxes.
Yep.
Now, you wrote this, man.
I know.
So I'm
It's
gonna
not
read this.
nearly as eloquent as.
Oh, no. In fact, I find it much more enjoyable.
Oh, thank you.
You graduated in 1999.
Yes.
You're the collective. Oh, my Lord. Attended Wabansie Community College and worked on the Fire Service Science Certificate. Hired as a volunteer firefighter in June of 2000 with the Bristol-Kendall Fire Protection District in Yorkville.
Yes.
Acquired your EMT that same year and went on to receive your paramedic license through Southern Fox Valley EMS at Delnor in 2002. Later in 2002, was offered a full-time contract medic position with Bristol-Kendall, where you were a paramedic on an ambulance for approximately 6 years.
Yep.
Saw a lot of stuff, huh?
Yeah, a few things here and there.
Is it busy, or is it just steady busy? Is it?
Let me preface this with I'm only allowed one BK story per day by everyone else here, so.
And just for those of us tuning in at home, this is not Burger King. This is
Yes, this is Bristol Kendall. Yeah, we saw some stuff.
that's the whole story.
A lot of.
It's like,
I'm trying to.
I don't want to hear anything that's
No, we saw some stuff. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of stuff to do. I learned a lot of stuff not to do.
Oh, of course.
Good life lessons.
6 years. Promoted to lieutenant in 2008.
Yes.
Congratulations. Served another 5 years as lieutenant until leaving to further my career, again, his words, in the wonderful city of Geneva, where I hear they have a great mayor. God, who wrote this crap?
Does it say great mayor? It
right
says
there.
great mayor. It meant fantastic mayor. That's autocorrect again. It gets me
Yeah, isn't
every
that
time.
something?
Yes,
Should be gray mayor. Did you write that?
I did. I know how these things go.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, then you know we're going to miss you. Spent the last 10 years with us.
Yes.
What shift primarily?
Gold standard.
Gold. Oh, now you have to throw the word standard in there?
If you know, you know.
I met Stephanie on the way in.
Yes.
Stephanie had some, delicate words for you.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Your daughter, Maddie,
Yep.
formal name Madison. Connie, mom. And Pete, stepfather.
Yep.
All here this evening.
All here.
Your hobbies, for God's sake. Seriously?
I gotta tell the truth.
Making my wife happy.
Is he wrong?
Lies.
Camping and glamping.
Glamping. I have to have my own toilet.
Mostly glamping.
Yep.
And describe that for those unseasoned in the glamping world.
Air condition when it's hot, heat when it's cold.
In a tent.
No,
Oh,
absolutely not. Tents are for peasants. Okay. Sorry, Jen. Sorry, Jen. Sorry. And I have to have my own toilet.
specificity is not necessary all the
Well,
time.
yeah.
It's like,
So,
and riding my motorcycle.
yeah.
What bike do you ride?
I've got a Harley Street Glide.
Oh, a street glide. Those are great.
Yeah. Well, you know.
It's not a moped?
Nope.
How long have you ridden?
12 years.
Oh, you ever been up to, was it?
Yeah, sure have.
I was going to say Maple Park.
I have. The pub. Absolutely.
You've been to Sturgis, though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
You ever go on the Harley rides to Milwaukee when they invite all the owners to come in?
Done one.
Done one, yeah.
We're doing Canada this year.
No, who's we?
Oh, buddies.
Buddies.
Yep.
So much for making my wife happy. You leave town.
Oh, but me leaving is making
Leave
her
town
happy.
makes
Yes.
Stephanie happy.
Yes.
Wow. So the same question to you, Lieutenant. Obviously, you've been around a long time, which is awesome. You clearly love what you do.
I do.
What's the secret to Mr.
Work with
Moore?
good people. Plain and simple.
And how do you know you're one of those good people?
Well, no one has said to my face they hate me, so that's nice.
Well, it's only 7:20.
The night is still young.
But you're one of the good people.
Sure, I hope.
What makes a
hope so.
firefighter a good person? On the job and off the job.
Being honest. Saying like it is, whether it's something they don't want to hear or something they do. And I think everybody can say the same, that if they ask me a question, they get an answer, whether they like it or not. So,
Kind of like this biography you wrote.
exactly.
Yeah. Now, I should have asked the deputy chief this question too, but how do you unwind after a particularly difficult day?
You just don't let it get to you. It's easier said than done. You just don't let it get to you. You compartmentalize work with work and home with home.
I would assume that commute home helps.
Yeah, and heavy metal. Yep.
So you did not go to the Taylor Swift concert?
No, I'm not a Swiftie, unfortunately.
No. Oh, I think that's a good thing.
I do enjoy a few songs, though, here and there.
You don't have to share everything.
Okay, I won't.
Council, any questions or comments for our lieutenant? Anything else you want to add?
No, sir.
We invite you to invite whomever you'd like to join you while we administer the oath. Kindly ask you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Robert W. Moore. I, Robert W. Moore. Having been promoted to the position of fire lieutenant. Having been promoted to the position of fire lieutenant. In the city of Geneva, county of Kane. In the city of Geneva, county of Kane. Aforesaid. Aforesaid. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Illinois. The Constitution of the State of Illinois. The city of Geneva Code of Ordinances. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position. Of lieutenant. Of lieutenant. According to the best of my ability. According to the best of my
Go, go, go. Maddie. Smile.
Now, before all the firefighters leave, of course, our lieutenant has to sign some documents. There's another gentleman we have the pleasure of welcoming to our team today. I want the firefighters to stick around and meet this gentleman.
Thank you so much.
Scott Rutenberg, come on up, big guy. Rutenberg's the new fire chief. No, just kidding. Twice tonight.
Maybe a sweaty one.
You want to center that podium since the firefighters messed the whole thing up? There you go.
How's that?
Yeah, the police never do that. It's amazing. Now, Scott, do you want to say anything before I begin?
It's all yours.
Scott, welcome.
Welcome,
When did you
thank
join our team in Public Works?
March.
March, okay, so it's been a while since we've had this pleasure to get together.
Yeah, it's been a long time,
It
right?
has been, and forgive me for having to cancel, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. We had to postpone that.
That's fine.
Grew up in Chicago.
I thought initially when I got the job,
Yeah?
when Nate called me for fingerprinting, I thought it was a setup.
Did you really? Well, that's actually what we're going to address.
Okay.
So it's like, it's kind of ironic you brought that up. You're a Chicago boy.
I am.
Calvin Park High School.
Yes.
Where in the city is that located?
Northwest side,
Northwest side, okay.
Fullerton and Austin area.
Oh, sure, my gosh.
Or I'm sorry, Costner.
Oh,
Pardon me.
Costner, okay. Then you went to Wilbur Wright Junior College for accounting.
Yes.
Do you want to share with us that experience?
Well, that was my initial degree, and at the same time, I was working in the automotive field,
Right.
and I found out that I did better at the automotive than I did at the accounting. There was many sleepless nights with books on my face, so I chose that path.
Oh, my gosh. So did you work with Chrysler during their downfall, or what happened?
Not with Chrysler,
The audience
and no,
is
I
all
was
about
not part of
numbers.
the downfall.
Then you went to Lincoln Technical Institute for Auto and Diesel.
Correct.
So you have an accounting degree, and you're a mechanic.
Yes.
Now, there's a line that says, or there's an adage that goes something like this. The only difference between a medical doctor and an auto mechanic is the language. Do you believe that true?
Yeah, I think we preferred to be called technicians.
Technicians. But it's a complicated world now,
Oh, yeah.
because you worked in multiple car dealerships.
Yeah, as a younger man, I worked about 20 years in multiple car dealerships there was a lot of sales and new car dealership startups, and I spent most of my youth doing that. And then I went on to the fleet side, which was for the Illinois Tollway,
I saw 20 years with the tollway.
20 years.
20 years with the
And
tollway.
you got to know somebody there, that's what I heard.
At the tollway?
Yeah,
I know the people that send me a ticket. You get to pay.
it's okay.
Wow. 20 years, man. Maintaining the fleet primarily. Or
Yes.
did they ever drag you in for accounting purposes?
Only when there's problems.
Oh, there's no problems with the tollway.
Never.
No. So where's home now?
I live in Aurora.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Nice.
Aurora, Naperville border.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's an easy commute, too.
30, 40 minutes, depends on the day.
Yeah, it's no lake holiday, but,
I usually speed through Geneva because I think I can get away with it.
well, plus we need the revenue, so keep speeding.
Yeah, that's
That'd be
right.
awesome, man.
But the fate of their vehicles are in my hands.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they are. Generally speaking, how are the vehicles doing?
Great. Guys tend to take good care of them.
Yeah.
Just needing to punch the right numbers in at the fuel station.
Ah.
But generally, they do well.
So after 20 years of the tollway, you still wanted to obviously be involved in this industry.
Yeah, I've done it, I would say, most of my life.
Yeah.
This was a good transition, so I'm happy to be here. I enjoy it.
Well, we're delighted you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else should we know? Because this is the most impressive bio ever. Where's Deputy Chief Los? One pager, baby. The deputy chief's back to his high school weight because the heat in here, for God's sake. It's like,
Yeah, it is fun.
well, we are delighted you're on board, and I will open the floor up to the council if there's any comments or questions.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you, guys.
We're delighted you're here.
Ladies.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. What are you looking at, Moore?
I'm waiting for you to say adjourn.
You are free to adjourn.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
At least you're not wobbling around on people.
Oh, wait. You got-
Ladies and gentlemen, we get to head to item 3C, which is to recognize our former city board and commission members. And we have a host of folks with us tonight, which is great. Retired board and commission members include, from the Historic Preservation Commission, serving from, check this out, folks, 2003 to 2020, Al Hiller. Whoa. Al, pretty cool, man. Come on up. We have a special gift for you, sir. I'll come to you, man. This is, you can hook up to Bruno's cable. That is for you. We thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I
What are you doing all the free time now?
Oh, keep myself plenty busy.
Are you?
I have all kinds of projects.
I bet you do. You always do. The kid's favorite science teacher, folks. I still call you Mrs. Zinke. Is that okay? Yes, sir. Mrs. Carolyn Zinke, Historic Preservation Commission, 2011 through 2023. Now, for those of you who don't know, how many years did you teach?
30,
30 years.
30 years, yes.
At which schools?
Schools in Oak Park.
Oh, okay.
And here in Geneva
Yeah.
as well, yes.
Coltrap.
Coltrap,
The OG.
yes. Oh, yeah.
That was-
My favorite place,
That's awesome.
which
Thank
is,
you.
which is now just dust.
Yeah, I know, but there's a nice couple bricks,
That's true.
so,
That's
you know.
true, yes.
Well, you're not dust, so it's good.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure to see you.
Always a pleasure. I don't think anyone knows this next young lady, so bear with me. Carolyn, is it Hill? Carolyn Hill? Yes. 2006 to 2019, Cultural Arts Commission. A little story about Carolyn. Carolyn and her late husband Sam were some of my parents' best friends. I remember, we've known each other for 40-plus years. I know. I went to high school with your son and daughter. Yeah. Never liked them, but you and Sam, I love. May I present this to you, Carolyn?
Pardon me?
May I present this to you?
Yes.
Excellent. Carolyn Hill, folks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's my pleasure.
It's good to see you. And right next to Mrs. Hill, serving on the Cultural Arts Commission from 2009 to 2022. That long. Mr. Doug Holzrichter. Doug? And of course, Mrs. Holzrichter's here too. It's photo op time, man. Yeah, that's right. She's good at it. No, just me. Get in here. Get in here, for God's sake. Get in here.
It was a pleasure to serve.
Oh my God, thank you very much.
You bet, you bet.
Appreciate all your
Thank you
good
so
work.
much.
That's for you. That's a picture of Carol.
Well, you know, there should be a picture.
There should be a picture. I know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. is Mr. Jones here? I don't see Mr. Jones, no. We'll make sure that he receives this.
Yes, we'll move on.
I'll cruise by his house and drop it off. But seated on the north side of the chamber, the entire family's almost here. Unbelievable. Serving on the Strategic Plan Advisory Committee, 2018 to 2022, Jill Johnson. Jill?
I know, awesome.
Let's pretend we like each other.
Okay. Pretend hard.
Was it a flip phone?
I know, right? You have to wind it up. Thank you.
I believe that covers it, correct? We didn't forget anyone. Yes, as a matter of fact, it does. And you can actually drive in the tollways for free. So, thank you all so very much. We know how challenging it is sometimes to commit yourself and your family to the work you do, and we appreciate it immensely. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 3D, folks, consider mayor's appointment of Brad Considine to the Strategic Plan Advisory Committee. Is there a motion? Alderperson Marks makes the motion. Alderperson Mayor makes the second. I do not see Brad with us tonight, so all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? With a unanimous vote, Mr. Considine is so appointed to the Strategic Plan Advisory Committee. Thank you, Ben. Item 3E, consider approval of 2023 Swedish Days special event liquor licenses for Geneva Chamber of Commerce and American Legion Post 75. Is there a motion? Alderperson Swanson, seconded by Alderperson Marks. Ms. Dawkins.
It's pretty self-explanatory. These are the liquor licenses for Swedish Days. The two applicants are Geneva Chamber of Commerce for their beer tent located on James Street between 3rd and 4th Streets, and the American Legion Post 75 at 22 South 2nd Street.
Any questions for myself or the city administrator? Straightforward. Voice vote is sufficient. All in favor, please say aye.
Bruno, aye.
Anyone opposed? 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 absent. Item 3E has been approved. Item 4, amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments this evening? Item 5 is the omnibus agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered to be routine by this council, and those items can be voted upon with one motion. Is there such a motion?
Bruno so moves.
Alderperson Swanson, seconded by Alderperson Kosarog. Any questions? Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowering. Aye. Bruno,
Bruno, aye.
Ruby. Aye. Kilberg,
Aye.
Kosarog,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor. Aye. Paschke.
Aye.
The omnibus agenda is approved with 10 affirmative votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 absent. We jump to, whoopsie daisy. Item 10, municipal bills for payment. We kindly ask our city clerk to please read the bills in their aggregate for our consideration.
The bills total $1,385,394.88.
Mayor Bruno moves that we pay the bills as read, that the individual items that add up to that amount can be found in tonight's city council packet on the city website.
Alderperson Bruno makes the motion to pay the bills as presented. Those bills are available on our website and in each council member's packet for this evening. Is there a second to that motion? Alderperson Bowering makes the second. Any questions or comments regarding the bills as presented? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Bruno,
Bruno, aye.
Ruby. Aye. Kilberg,
Aye.
Kosarog,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor. Aye. Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowering.
Aye.
The bills have been approved with 10 affirmative votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 absent. We jump to item 12, 12A is to consider approval of ordinance number 2023-09, amending Title IV, Business and License Regulations, Chapter 2, Liquor Control, Section 4-2-13, License Fees and Number of Licenses, adjusting the number of licenses in said section. Is there a motion to all that? Alderperson Marks? Seconded by Alderperson Mayor. Ms. Dawkins?
And for all of that, this is basically a housekeeping issue. So once we do all of our renewals in May, we look at the numbers and adjust them. And so in order for the code to reflect the approvals that took place last year and those that may not have renewed, we update the code with the new numbers. These numbers will also include the latest approvals for Mandrake and Geneva Winery Bistro and Wine Bar. And those licenses will take place after occupancy has been granted.
The floor is open for any questions. Yes, Alderperson Bowring, forgive me.
That's okay. Just as a follow-up to one of the questions that was posed, and this may, forgive me if this should come at a different time, is it possible for us to discuss a little bit this issue of should we stop making city council discuss this every time we adjust the number? Curious to hear from the city and then.
So I would say what would be appropriate if there's a consensus that that's a topic that the council would like to discuss, we can bring it back to a future COW. But essentially what the question was is why do we do this? Why are we changing the numbers? You know, there are some licenses in the code that have numbers attached to it, and there are some, okay, one second, Alderman Bruno. And then there are some that do not. We believe that this is a longstanding practice, probably in the earlier days when people were a little reluctant to approve liquor licenses. But I will tell you, in the 15 years that I've been here, there has not been a liquor license that has not been approved by this council. So certainly if there is a consensus, that is something we could bring back for further discussion. Mayor?
Are you comfortable with that response? Alderperson Bruno, sir?
I would jump in as part of that consensus if one would form. Again, I was in my, 12 years on the council. Obviously, we've never not granted a license. Thank you.
Please record that as 14 Alderperson Bruno's making comments. It's like, I think someone's been drinking up there. I only see one. I don't know what you people see, man. It's like, oh, there it is. It's one. Anyone else? We will move forward in that direction. Okay. On the matter at hand, any other questions? If not, a voice vote is sufficient. But we'll go with what do you think, Mr. Attorney? Roll call it is, man. Whenever you're ready, Madam Clerk, I would have saved you 10 minutes.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowring?
Aye.
Bruno?
Bruno, aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Hilberg?
Aye.
Kasserag?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
With the motion or the vote of 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 absent, that item has passed unanimously. We are at the bewitching hour of new business and public comment. We always seek public comment first, so we'll change that moving forward. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council tonight on any issue you heard this evening and/or any matter at hand? Yes, sir.
Good to be back. My name's Jay Rule. You guys recall I was here a couple weeks ago talking about a tree that fell on my house. I don't want to go into gory details. I think most all of you were here. But at the end of that, I asked for a meeting, a sit-down meeting. What I got was a letter. We can't sit down and talk about this, guys. It's a question.
You'll forgive me, Mr. Rule, but we have been advised by counsel that because there has been potentially counsel retained from you, that our counsel will now be involved in this matter.
So you're willing to escalate this? Is that what you're telling me?
No, sir, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you that the council members, the council as a body or independently are prohibited based on best practices from discussing with you specifically.
Quick question I have.
Yes, sir.
Whose tree was this?
based on your earlier testimony or based on your earlier commentary, you said it was a tree in the city's parkway.
Okay. So who's liable for that tree?
I
Not me.
believe that's the issue at hand.
Not me.
With,
Now, guys, we can, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Rule, I understand your advocacy and your passion, and you're not going to get satisfaction here tonight. My suggestion, you are free to take it or not, is because you're engaged with the lawyer, you can have your attorney contact the city officially, but you did get a letter, I believe it was from Ben. I think it laid out correctly, at least from the city's perspective, the situation. You needn't agree with that, but it's not going to change this evening, and it can't change this evening.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
You have referred me back to Argonaut. Are you guys self-insured? You are.
We're not in this one? Oh, okay.
You are not. Have any of you looked at the accident report? Have any of you looked at the police report? Have any of you know what I'm even asking for?
Mr. Rule, you're asking that the city compensate you for your damages, which typically, in the ordinary course, you would have made a claim with your insurer, which would have covered or not covered the event. And if it covered, it would have had rights to look to other parties if another party were liable for the damages.
That may be true. I choose not to burden my insurance carrier with this. They have no reason.
That's why
to
you
involve.
pay, well,
Well, that's why you're paying them too. I can't argue with Argonaut because I carry no weight with them. You do. You should be carrying this. You should be arguing with your insurance people. And on top of that, if you are self-insured, what difference does it make? We're going to spend time and money, you're going to spend time and money arguing this that will far exceed what I'm even asking for. You have a fiduciary responsibility to do the right thing. Do you not?
Mr. Rule, again, we're not going to argue the merits or the lack of merits here today. It's not going to get done today.
I'm not asking for it to get done today. I asked for a meeting.
Yes.
And if you want to have your attorneys there, that's fine. I'll represent myself. Can we do that?
Sir, I would strongly recommend that you make a claim with your insurance company and handle that in the ordinary course.
I choose not to, okay?
That's choice.
That's my business, okay?
It is.
Because ultimately, the liability falls on the city of Geneva. I would ask my alder people, did you guys even get involved in this? You're representing me. You know anything about this? No, you don't. Do you care?
The alderpersons were advised as to the history regarding this matter. They have been copied on correspondence. They have been briefed by City Administrator and Assistant Administrator McCready. The matter regarding a meeting is an operational issue. I would defer to Mr. McCready with counsel by City Attorney in that direction. But it's not a...
But again, I'll represent myself. You could have in fact, invite Argonaut there. I ask you to do that. You carry some weight with him. I do not.
We will certainly take it under advisement.
What? Okay. So am I going to get another letter? So we're going to waste more time. Guys, you're going to exceed what my claim is even about, as far as dollar-wise. I have one other piece of business that's kind of been bothering me.
Yes, sir.
Back in February, when the tree on my property needed repairs done to it from this tree, the city was going to come and trim that tree. I was asked to sign a waiver. Let me just read this to you. The undersigned hereby authorizes the City of Geneva Public Works to trim and/or remove the tree on my property from the public right-of-way or the property located at 2307 Clover Lane in Geneva. The undersigned further understands that the city is not responsible for removal of debris, restoration of landscaping or turf, or any perceived loss of property value incurred as a result of the city's tree trimming and maintenance activities. Furthermore, the undersigned hereby waives any and all claims against the City of Geneva, its elected officials, employees, agents, or bodily injury or death arising out of or any manner connected with the pruning, removal of trees or brush in the right-of-way or on the specified property, my property. As the rightful owner or agent of aforementioned property, the undersigned agrees to defend, indemnify, keep, and hold harmless the City of Geneva, elected officials and employees and agents from all damages, judgments, and expenses, including reasonable attorney fees suffered because of damage to property arise out of or consequence of removing trees. May I ask who wrote this?
I don't know, sir.
Can we find out?
I would assume so, yes, sir.
I mean, nobody in here wrote this? I mean, it was written specifically for me. I would think one of you ought to know who wrote this.
I do not know who wrote that, sir.
Anybody? Yeah, anybody? Nobody knows. Well, I'll address the group then. To think for a minute that I would sign this, and so it's my intelligence people. You're basically saying you can come on my property whenever you want and cut down a tree on my property. That's what this says. You wanted me to sign this. Now that, I'm sorry guys, that's, like I say, I don't know who wrote this, but shame on you. I don't know. It's not a question of anger, it's a question of what's right, and the city is wrong here. You're the ones that are liable, not Argonaut, not me. It's your tree, it's on your property. It's no different than one of your city vehicles comes down the street and runs into my house. You're still liable. And again, we could spend money sending letters back and forth. I could waste a lot of your time, more so than it would cost to just settle this. Is that what you want? It's a question. Is that what you want? Because I'm retired, time's on my side. The only thing that's going to help you is if I die. My wife will tell you that when I'm up against these kind of things, I am an absolute bulldog and I will not let go of it. Okay? I will absolutely wear you out. And at some point you're going to say, geez, we should have just settled with this guy. So if that's what you want, game on. Is that what you want? A lot of stone faces here. Is that what you want?
Thank you, Mr. Will.
I would thank you if you would just fulfill my request. We can sit down like men and women and discuss this. So like I said, game on.
Mayor,
Pardon me? Question?
I had one question,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
One question only.
Absolutely.
How many dollars are involved with the damages?
Just shy of $10,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. I don't think anybody else in this room even knows. Shame on all of you. Like I said, game on.
Anyone else?
Pardon?
No, sir, I was just asking if anyone else in the audience wishes to share anything with the council. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the council meeting, if unless somebody here at the dais has new business they'd like to share with the community.
Motion to adjourn.
Alderperson Maladra makes the motion to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. It'll take just a moment to transition to the committee of the whole meeting.
I'd like to call the Committee of the Whole meeting for the City of Geneva to session. This is Monday, June 5th, 2023. Let the record show that all alderpersons are in attendance. Item 2 recommends suspending the rules to permit Alderman Kilberg to chair this meeting and to vote on all action items on this agenda. Is there a motion? Moved by Mayor, seconded by Marks. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Item 3, approve Committee of the Whole minutes from May 15th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Bowring. Is there a second? Seconded by Swanson. Voice vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Bruno, aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. We have 5 items on the under items of business this evening. The first item, consider draft resolution awarding bid to Wesco for the delivery and purchase of a G&W Viper switch and controls in the amount of $35,120. Is there a motion? Moved by Mayor, seconded by Bowring. Discussion.
Do you want an introduction?
Pardon me? Oh, yeah. Why don't you give us a
Sure.
description of what we're talking about here?
So a Viper switch was specified to replace the manual switch now in service at the Western Avenue substation. Once installed and connected, staff will have the ability to remotely switch loads between Western Avenue and South Street substation, increasing lineman safety and reducing outage restoration time. The electric division staff will install the switch and needed fiber optic infrastructure to communicate with the switch controls. The bid prices received from Resco and Wesco were identical, but Wesco did state that they would hold their price through delivery, and Resco was only holding their price through the end of this week. The recommendation, therefore, is to award the purchase of a G&W Viper switch and controls to Wesco in the amount of $35,120. And with us this evening is Superintendent Holton, who can tell you everything you ever wanted to know about a Viper switch.
Since you came out this evening, maybe we'll bring you to the podium, get some camera time. Tell us a little bit about how this is going to improve service, or it's going to give us some additional coverage as it relates to an outage, right?
Yeah, so the currently there's a manual switch in place right now between those two substations. We have to physically send somebody there to open and close that switch if we need to. Obviously, that takes time. So in the event of an outage, and we do operate this switch actually quite a bit during just normal business, as well as outage situations. So it'll cut down on that travel time and having to get everybody in place and the radio traffic back and forth. So we have similar installations throughout the city. This is just one place that we've been deficient.
So in other words, this would probably help reduce the length of an outage?
Yeah.
Sure. And, you know, one of the nice things I've seen about your department over the last decade or more is the fact that outages have been reduced to dramatically, and this will only help improve upon that, I would assume. Any other questions? I guess we're ready to vote. Let's take a roll call on this. Would you please read the roll?
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowring,
Aye.
Bruno,
Bruno, aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
Hilberg,
Aye.
Kasserag,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Item B, consider draft resolution awarding bid to Hoagland Energy LLC for the procurement of equipment and devices and the construction of the Couts Road Electric Substation in the amount of $6,383,000 with approval of change orders not to exceed 10% of the contracted amount. Is there a motion? Moved by Mayor. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Peschke.
Okay.
Would you share your commentary on this.
Sure. A key part of the city's Southeast Master Plan is the construction of an electric substation. In partnership with Midwest Industrial Funds, the property owner, the city applied for and was subsequently awarded a $1.2 million Rebuild Illinois grant from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Bids were advertised, and one bid was received from Holland Energy LLC. 5 other bidders declined to bid due to various reasons ranging from lack of manpower to supply chain concerns. Although Holland bid is $1.08 million more than the engineer's estimate, it is unlikely more responses to a second bid would be received, but would add an additional 8 weeks and put the grant funding in jeopardy due to the additional time. DCEO approved Holland's BEP utilization plan, which allows the city to award the contract and begin moving forward with the construction of the substation. Therefore, the recommendation this evening is to award the bid for the construction of the Couts Road substation to Holland Energy LLC in an amount of $6,383,000 and allow the city administrator to approve change orders not to exceed 10% of the contract amount. And again, we still have Superintendent Holton with us this evening to answer any additional questions.
Questions? I guess we don't have any. Would you please read the roll?
All right, Mayor,
Aye.
Peschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowering,
Aye.
Bruno,
Bruno, aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Kasserag,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
It's unanimous, it carries. Item C, consider draft resolution awarding bid to Myers Controlled Power LLC for the delivery and construction of the Geneva Business Park 3 electric substation switchgear and building in an amount of $1,375,742 with approval of change orders not to exceed 10% of the contracted amount. Is there a motion? Moved by Bowring. Seconded by Mayor.
Okay, we continue with the electric show. So bids were advertised and purchased for the purchase and delivery of the switchgear and building for the Geneva Business Park 3 substation. One bid was received and 4 companies declined to submit. So the recommendation is to award the bid to Price Myers Controlled Power LLC in the amount of $1,201,975. I would note that this is below the engineer's estimate. So again, we still have Superintendent Holton prepared to answer any questions you may have.
I have a quick question.
Alderperson Kasserag.
The amount you read isn't the same amount on the agenda. Maybe I heard it wrong.
Right, so the agenda, this was actually one of the questions, so the agenda is the correct amount, so I apologize, $1,375,742, because there was the one little, if you want to address that, Aaron, please. My
Yeah,
apologies.
so the 1.2 million roughly amount was the bid opening price. Once the engineers dove into that, we noticed some discrepancies between the specifications and what they bid. The changes required to get the contract to meet the specifications adds up to the 1.3 million. That's why there's the discrepancy there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Alderperson
Yeah,
Cosar.
no problem.
Alderperson Swanson.
Thank you, Chair. Have we done business with this firm before, Myers?
I believe we have. I think one of our buildings and switchgear is from Myers in the past.
And the reason I'm asking, and just looking at all the negotiations between the city and Myers, it almost seemed like they didn't want the job, or they wanted it on their terms. There were a lot of there was a lot of pushback from them on things. Specifically, what caused the discrepancy between the bid and then the actual cost, the building. One was, we wanted a 17-foot building, they bid a 15-foot building.
Right.
I'm assuming the bid specs and everything had the correct size, so they just modified it on their own.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, well, I think one of the main reasons why they did that is a 15-foot wide building, they can deliver in one piece. Whereas a 17-foot wide building, it comes in 2 pieces and they have to assemble it. So probably for bidding purposes, it was cheaper to do with the 15-foot building, which is why we asked for the correction to a 17. And that would be a normal course of evaluation. especially if we had multiple bids. We'd want to make sure everybody's bidding on the same thing.
Sure.
So those kind of questions pop up. As far as the back and forth, yes, we probably had more back and forth on the terms and conditions than we do normally. And I think that's a result of the current environment that we're operating in with supply chain shortages and lead times being such that they are. Normal things like liquidated damages, they had a real hard time with the LDs because a lot of that is out of their control. So if S&C delays the breaker delivery and we say, well, no, you were supposed to have it here, it wasn't here on this date, liquidated damages are going to start accruing. They didn't want to run into that sort of situation. So we had to go back and forth quite a bit
Okay.
on those.
I understand that. The change of the building from 15 to 17 feet being $106,000 seemed eye-popping to me. And I just wanted to confirm with you that that is a reasonable add-on to
Yes.
make that. Is the
Yes.
building made out of gold or something? Or what makes that
Close.
cost
It's
so
made out of,
expensive?
it's made out of steel. So steel prices. No, the reason why we specify the 17 feet is there's more working room inside the building. We have narrower switchgear buildings on our system, and it's more difficult to do the work we need to do within those buildings. That 2 feet doesn't seem like a lot, standing here, but once you get in the building, you see it really opens it up. Gives us a lot more room to work. So the last two switchgear buildings that we purchased have both been specified at that 17-foot width for that reason, so.
Sure. I understand the purpose. It just was
Right.
the cost to go from 15 feet to 17 feet seemed eye-popping for a steel structure. And it just gave me pause.
Okay.
So I just wanted to confirm with you that that is reasonable and
yes,
the
we're-
overall project is
We were actually surprised it only came in at that, to be honest with you.
fair enough. Thank you.
Is there another question?
Well, I just
Alderperson Mayor?
I pulled up the Myers site, and because I too was curious about that 15 to 17 number.
Oh, sure.
It's a standard product that they have, is the 15-foot enclosure. So I think that as a manufactured product, we're asking for a custom run for 17.
I don't think it's a custom. I think they willingly provided it. It was just an added cost.
Okay. But it comes out as one piece,
No, this is a double wide. This will come in two pieces.
right? But the 15-foot comes in one?
The 15-foot wide building comes in one piece.
Okay, yeah.
Is that it? I had a couple questions. The timeline as far as delivery and I didn't know if that was in the documentation.
I will have to, it is in there. I don't recall what it is off the top of my head. I think the transformer is still our longest lead time item.
So in other words,
But we want to have kind of everything in place when the transformer shows up, so.
so we're talking about probably 18 months or longer?
I'll have to confirm that, but it's going to be a substantial length of time, a year or more.
Okay. And then, could you be a little bit more specific as to where it will be situated?
So this is going in the Geneva Business Park substation, which is the substation that's behind GGF, or over off of Averill Road.
Right.
It'll go,
Is it by the lift station then, or?
no, it's right behind the generating plant.
Oh, right behind,
Yes.
okay, so there's been some excavation there. Is this in
Right,
relation, is
right.
this in preparation for it?
Well, the excavation is going on for the General Mills expansion.
Okay, okay.
Right.
But,
Actually, when the Geneva Business Park substation was built and it was later expanded, it was anticipated there would be a third transformer and switchgear line out there. So we have some of the work already done for us. So the transformer containment and foundation are there. There's conduits in the ground. So we're finishing up work that was started about 15 years ago.
so this is in that open area then to the east of the generation facility?
No, that'll still remain. The open area will still remain. We're going to expand the substation just a little bit. But if you're driving down Averill and you look at to the north there as you go past generation, you'll see there's actually an old transformer that we've maintained as a standby is sitting there. It's one that's sitting there with nothing attached to it. That's where the GBP3 substation will go.
Okay, so, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderperson Kilberg, I would note the date for delivery is within a period of 15 days prior to or after December 26, 2024.
So, about 18
months.
18 months. Good. Okay, any other questions? If not, would you please read the roll?
Bowring,
Aye.
Bruno,
Bruno, aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Kasserag,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Item D, consider draft ordinance authorizing the execution of access easement and abrogation of the 1974 ingress and egress easement located on lots 2 and 3 of the original town of Geneva, Kane County, Illinois. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Kasserag.
Okay, so for the council's consideration is the execution of an access easement. So this would grant the city a non-exclusive perpetual easement over the access driveway for the purpose of pedestrian and vehicular passage. The lot that we're talking about is the parking lot directly north of this building. As you recall, we used to lease that lot. We no longer lease it. The old easement was located in a part of the parking lot that was inaccessible. So the new easement would allow for the access to come straight down that one drive to access the city's private parking spaces that are kind of at the corner of that lot, and then also the alleyway. So this is just the final cleanup of that, of terminating that lease agreement. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions of staff on this?
That's me.
Yes. I think we're ready to vote. Those in, would you please read the roll?
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowring,
Aye.
Bruno,
Bruno, aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Kasserag,
Aye.
Maladra.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Item E, consider draft resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with FGM Architects for facilities master planning services in the amount of $99,500. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Marks. Seconded by Mayor. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Paschke.
So as you're aware, the city has many challenges with its facilities related to age, functionality, and inadequate space. There are also considerations to modernize for current living quarters and environmental safety standards. As part of the fiscal year 24 budget process, a facilities master plan was recommended to take the complicated totality of the circumstances into consideration, provide alternatives and recommendations with cost estimates, and ultimately a multi-year facilities master plan. A project team consisting of representatives from all city departments followed the state-mandated qualifications-based selection process for contracting professional services. A bid was published, 6 qualified firms submitted, and 3 finalists were selected for interviews. FGM Architects emerged as the preferred firm from the interview process. They have worked with staff to clarify the scope of work and provided a proposal with the expectation of an actionable master plan to the city by fall of 2023. FGM has extensive government experience, and staff is confident of their abilities to provide a master plan that will meet the city's needs. With us this evening, we do have Facilities Manager Pete Adams from the city, and then a representative, Dave Yandel, from FGM Architects to answer any additional questions.
Questions? Alderperson Mayor.
I'll start with Dave Yendel. if that's okay. So delivering this product by August is pretty aggressive. You have the manpower to put on this to get through to that deliverable?
Yes, very much so. We're very excited about this opportunity to work with the City of Geneva. I think August was a little bit aggressive based on potentially getting to you guys last month for approval. I think in the most recent proposal, we might have asked for September. You know, a lot of that goes, there's a lot of good information that's out there already. And we've done brief tours of the facilities and preparing our proposal or our initial set of qualifications and ultimately our proposal. We're excited about getting back to the facilities and meeting with the individuals and, you know, key stakeholders for this project. If everything goes smoothly and we can get through the facilities in that time frame, we do have a process that we've used extensively that we feel is going to be appropriate for this project.
What are some cities that you've worked with to do similar studies?
Most recently, probably the city of Cary, just north of here. They've a new police station and village hall facility. We've done. We're currently working with the village of Downers Grove after an extensive study and site analysis to relocate their village hall and police department. We're now doing a joint facility in their downtown. We've done, my specific focus has been in both municipal public service and public higher education. So a lot of work at Northern Illinois University, at Wheaton College, University of Illinois, even in some of their master planning. So we bring years of experience. The firm is nearing 80 years old. We've done over 600 fire stations in Illinois, you know, hundreds of police stations and other public works facilities, and we bring that expertise. Our project architect, kind of our project manager who's going to lead the effort, a gentleman named Jason Estes, who is part of the interview team. He lives here locally. We've, you know, surrounded your community with similar facilities, and we're excited to be back here in Geneva. For those who may not know, back in the day, we were responsible for the design of the 2 fire stations here in town, so we're excited about being back.
2 elementary schools? Did you
Yeah, and 2 elementary schools as well.
So Williamsburg and Fabian?
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay. I'm familiar with FGM Architects, and I think it's a great firm, so
thank you.
I'm excited to see you guys working for Geneva.
Well, we're excited to be here.
Other questions? I had a question.
Yes.
What prior studies have you had a chance to review as it relates to some of the facilities over the last 5 to 10 years? I know that we've had facility studies that have been done individually. Which of those have you had a chance to spend some time with as you prepared your bid?
We reviewed all of the facility needs assessments that were done by the previous firm and have a pretty strong understanding of some of the immediate needs. And what those reports do is they help set the stage of kind of what you need or what the facilities need. Kind of this next step of the master plan is asking questions more along the lines of how do you work, you know, what do you need to accomplish, you know, how do you best practice within these facilities so that we can help kind of plan whether it's renovating or improving existing facilities or coming up with concepts. You've got this great opportunity, you know, with the 2 sites here now that we're super excited about exploring, as well as, you know, opportunity for maybe a new police station. Those are some of the key elements. During our brief tours, we've seen some of the conditions. You've got some great facilities here that you've been great stewards of over the years that we're looking to, you know, keep intact, but really hopefully bring some fresh thinking to some other opportunities and recommendations.
How do you gather input? In other words, the stakeholders as it relates to all of this. How do you make sure that your tracking is somewhat consistent with the communities and the elected officials?
Well, we've talked about that. Certainly, the meetings with the key stakeholders as identified, you know, by the village or by the city, and who wants to be a part of that. We've also talked about the opportunity, perhaps this summer. Obviously, you have a very active community during the summer of potential, you know, public engagement as well, as we maybe come up with concepts and trying to get some feedback on that. And certainly during the phases of this project, we anticipate coming back to you in a draft format to get input and feedback from this council.
Good. Okay. Other questions? Alderperson Swanson?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And I trust the decision to hire you, and you made the cut with the responding to the bid. One thing that wasn't provided, which I do like to see, is a detailed budget by staffing hours that comes up to the 99.5, and that was not in our packet. And the reason I like to see that is just in case every now and then consulting agreements go haywire, if you will, or over budget. You're going to want to get paid. We're going to want to know what additional work or what roadblocks you had. So having that available before work starts, I think it helps both of us be comfortable going forward. So could that be shared with us? Or has it been provided to the city?
I don't have we didn't, their proposal hadn't necessarily.
I don't want to put Pete on the spot.
It's okay. No, their proposal was more based on.
This is, by the way, this is Mr. Adams, facilities manager.
No, their proposal was more based on, like just segments of scope of work that they applied hours to come up with that total, we, in our negotiations, they were transparent enough to share with me the hours that they had laid out for it. But that was more just like a general guideline that they were using to lay it out. It wasn't like, this is exactly the number of hours that are applied to this building. It was more just they were using it to kind of align themselves with a range of expectations for it, not a commitment of this is the exact number of hours we are applying to this portion of the scope.
And that's fine. I understand that. However, there are numerous caveats in the contract that say if we have to do additional meetings or if we want to be reimbursed for it, we need to know what's additional. So that would help. What more additional information you have would be helpful.
We are happy to share. As Pete mentioned, we did share that during our negotiations on the fee. That's, to me, I'm comfortable with Pete sharing that. We can create a more formal exhibit if you want to this agreement. We're happy to do that. We're very transparent and open. Our proposal started actually a little bit more, maybe more vague, because it's hard sometimes to work this process. And while we do have a work plan, again, we're not selling widgets, right? We're selling services, and so sometimes those hours are tough to gauge. But we are committed to the services as outlined. We're committed to delivering a master plan that you guys are going to be satisfied with. Right time is money, and so certainly we try to outline the number of meetings that we've assumed, but we've entered this age now of virtual meetings, which we appreciate. The communication is going to be extensive during the course of these next few months. We are not, I don't know, public record, we're not a nickel and dime firm. We are here to deliver a master plan, and we're very comfortable with the fee that we presented. Again, and I think it's fairly well outlined. So I can't envision, and as Pete and I have talked about, I can't envision anything in the next few months that goes crazy unless we decide we need to scrap something in the middle, or we want to add another facility, or we want to go a different direction, or we want to, one other maybe example would be we want to do full color renderings of all the facilities and stuff like that. That's a level of effort that's maybe above and beyond the master plan itself, but we are happy to continue talking to you about. And what's also in the agreement is anytime we feel like we're at or beyond the scope of services that we've identified, we'll come to you guys first. We're not going to work at risk or put you guys at risk that we're working, and then we'll come back to you and say, hey, we did all this extra stuff. So,
okay. The more information that could be provided would make me more comfortable.
Absolutely. Happy to share.
Right now we're in the feel good, getting to know each other stage. You never know, and to have that information available on the front end is always helpful.
Absolutely. Happy to share.
So, and the last thing we'd want is if you'd say, we did everything, but we didn't address the building next door. And for that, it's going to be $50,000. So those are the issues that we're trying to avoid.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm happy to share.
So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Alderperson Ruby?
Thank you. Just have a little general apprehension about this for the fact that I like having the whole picture, but I'm hesitant knowing that we don't have funding to fix everything at once, and by the time we have funding to execute everything, how outdated will this be, for example? So
that's an excellent question, right? Because we're trying to create a plan, and plans are subject to change. the economy, pandemics and other influences, as we hear about 18-month lead times on transformers and switchgear, it's a whole different world these days. But anyway, the goal of the plan is to identify immediate short-term and long-term goals so that you at least have something that you can grasp and feel that is urgent and critical for you guys to move forward. And then as you're planning and budgeting for like the next 3 to 5 years, and then the long-term goals are those that are 10 to 15 years out, but you'll probably be revisiting those in about 5 years as that first kind of wave of urgent or high-priority projects, get implemented. But a 5-year window is a pretty typical time to be revisiting plans of this nature.
Okay. And I guess I also maybe incorrectly thought that we had already identified the police station as our top priority, or maybe it was just a top contender.
It is. It's going to make that part of it fairly easy.
Okay.
And so as part of this master plan, the idea of a concept of what that police station could be and where it could be located within the village. I'm sorry, I keep saying village, and I'm sorry, I've worked with the different municipalities. I could say college. Locations within the city is part of the plan as well. So we can start to show options. Does it make sense on its existing site or the site, site next to Public Works, or maybe there's a third site that's out there. And we're going to explore that and help show you how that may influence other projects or that specific project.
Okay. And part of your services is architecture. Does that mean blueprints, or is that a separate thing?
At this point,
renderings?
they would be kind of conceptual plans.
Okay.
They'd be kind of singular in their diagrammatic format, but they would be to scale on a site. For a facility like this where we have existing drawings, it might be how we might implement changes within this building. Something like the police station where we know it, or we're assuming at this point that it might be a new facility somewhere else, we'll actually conceptualize that based on best practices and information that we garner not only from the previous studies and the programmatic requirements that came out of those, but then the ideas and concepts that we get from the stakeholders that we talk to within the police department and the city as a whole.
Okay. And will you pitch locations, or is that on us?
It's kind of a shared effort.
Okay.
I believe that locations have been identified, but if there's an alternate sites that want to be explored, we can certainly work with the city to do that.
Sure. So we'll get the architectural plans and cost estimates?
Yes.
Okay.
So cost is a big component of this. And so for those who may not be aware, we're partnered with Leopardo Construction, who is also very well known in the municipal market, and who we're partnering with now on the Village of Downers Grove project. And they're going to be our cost consultants, and they're going to help us with costing these projects and, including escalation and, feasibility and helping us with other constructability and feasibility issues, especially with some of these existing facilities.
Okay.
But cost is obviously a big component of the master plan.
Sure, of course. And then just jumping back to your first statement about a revision in 5 years, that, I assume that's a separate contract?
Yeah, that would be a separate
Okay.
contract. That would be, it's something where you guys might revisit it. It's not necessarily you need to redo it.
Right.
But let's revisit the priorities. Maybe priorities have changed. What we had listed as a high priority or a medium priority 3-4 years ago, now something else has changed in the city that we need to shift priorities. So it's something that we should revisit yearly, but major change kind of happens after some of the initial projects are done.
Okay. And you may not be able to, but can you give me a ballpark on the 5-year revision, what your consulting cost would be for that?
Probably in the same ballpark.
Okay.
It really kind of depends on
How
where
much
we're
we're
at.
changing?
Yeah.
Of course, that's fine. I just
No, I
curious.
appreciate
Okay.
it's, you're trying to plan for the future, and we understand that sometimes bringing in outside help helps focus. And, as we talked about, there are a lot of key stakeholders and community and this council, and so bringing that kind of vision all together is our primary goal.
Okay, thank you.
Alderperson Marks.
Probably not a fair question, but I'll ask it.
Sure.
That's okay. You mentioned Village of Downers Grove, where you've got the police and the city hall together. Do you also look at those kind of arrangements underneath this kind of
Oh,
contract
absolutely.
for
We'd
us?
be happy to do that.
Combining, if it makes sense that,
Yep.
would it be more cost effective just to put two services almost together?
Right. This kind of, programming kind of conceptualization phase is where all these great ideas kind of get tossed out on the table, and we kind of help sort through them a little bit, talk about pros and cons, and try to assign costs to them, so you're making good decisions based on the information that's being provided. You know, that's kind of our secondary goal, is to, you know, bring you good information in a timely manner to help you guys make decision on how to best move forward for the city.
So if you see that the existing inventory of our land won't really be the most efficient way to do it, will that be in the report, that we may have to purchase additional land, or do you not look at that?
No, we could certainly look at that. My initial hunch is that that's not.
No, I just wondered.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, you know, you may get to a point where you're like, you may be just a little too tight if you're going to combine stuff, or.
Yeah, from our initial tours, you know, obviously the park that's adjacent to the Public Works and the open land that's adjacent to the smaller fire station. I apologize, don't know the number.
Fire Station 2.
Thank you. I was going to guess 2, but I didn't want to be wrong again. You know, those are opportunities that were initially presented, but when you look downtown here and, you know, the space that we have here for these 2 facilities, you know, maybe we're a little bit tighter. And
Yeah, that's why I wondered if you said, you know, do we
right,
have to
and then
look
so there's
outward?
obviously with that there's the balance of the desire to maintain a strong presence in downtown versus potentially relocating your services to outside of downtown. You know, it might be most beneficial to kick off this project with this council and get your vision for the city before we kind of take that to the stakeholders, or, you know, we can go the other way. This is what we heard from the stakeholders and we're bringing it back to you. Does that resonate with what you're thinking? So
I would probably leave that up to you guys to decide which way to really go with that. I mean, it's just, you know, it's something we haven't taken on. You can see that for quite some time. And, you know, the idea is, you know, if we really want to keep it downtown, we need to know you can't do it downtown, you know?
Right.
You know, and, you know, I guess what experience do you have? I mean, when cities start to do these kinds of projects, we have to go out and get voter approval and bonds. Is that usually easier to do all at once, or really do a piecemeal type? You know, sometimes it's just better off to
You
bite it
probably
all
know,
off and
you
chew
probably
it.
know your city and your your temperance for referendums better than I do at this moment.
Yeah, and I think it depends upon, you know, the cost, but yeah, I mean, sometimes there could be a cost saving of doing a couple buildings together because you've got the same contractor bidding it and stuff, and so.
Absolutely. You know, and we'll be able to talk about those kind of efficiencies and cost, and the report's going to hopefully summarize the critical need for these updated or new facilities with respect to health, safety, and welfare, which is the #1 priority, accessibility and universal design and access for all. You know, this is a difficult building to get in and out of.
And we probably saw that with the last study we had that kind of just looked at the buildings, that kind of pretty much told us, you know, we really don't really have access to a lot of our buildings.
Right,
For handicapped accessibility just does not exist in the age of the buildings we're dealing with. I mean,
That's right, and that's always a balance with some of the more historic facilities, but we have approaches to deal with that, and we're excited about bringing those options forward.
Okay. I thank you for your time and
no
answering the
worries.
questions, because it's a big step for the city, you can imagine, and it's going to have people on both sides of the issue. I mean,
And we
that's
appreciate
what you
that,
want.
and our goal, again, is to come to you during the interim part of the study so that we're not heading down the wrong path, or you don't feel like we're meeting the intention of what you guys are set out to do with this report.
Great. I think the more communication between you and us is probably the best thing.
Terrific.
I don't want you to get to the end and we say, "Ew, that's really not what we thought we were going to."
I have told Pete that I'm looking for every reason to come out to Geneva this summer. It's one of my favorite
Okay,
places.
well, welcome, you know. The mayor will take you out to dinner
I
a
know, I've
couple
got-
times.
My Google Maps is all filled with pins in Geneva, so.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Other questions? I had one. For the benefit of the public, when we say facility studies, and maybe Mr. Adams might be helpful with this, you know, I want to make sure we understand what we're taking a look at, because we have a number of different facilities in the community. Obviously, and I'll go through the list that I have and tell me what I'm missing, or or what's not going to be included. The synergy between City Hall and Library.
Yes.
Fire station,
Yes.
1?
Yes.
2?
Yes.
Public Works?
Yes.
Waste treatment?
No.
No.
Okay. Geneva Generation?
No.
So I'm going to, quick
Okay,
asterisk on that.
And the last one, our water plant.
Right. We are not going to specifically study those as part of this master plan, but we are going to incorporate by reference the information from the previous facility needs and include those in our report.
So tell me where the focus is going to be then.
The focus is predominantly on this synergy between City Hall and the new library, the police and Public Works. What did I just miss? The fire stations.
And that, we need to do, there's a lot of like gender-related updates and things like that, privacy-related updates to the sleeping quarters and things that are needed for the fire stations. And Fire Station 2 is just egregiously undersized, frankly. And Public Works.
You're referring to the one on Randall.
Yeah, west on Fargo. And Public Works it just needs a lot of it needs a lot of updates to mechanical systems and finishes and a new roof.
So
Yeah, there's gonna,
just a very
your services aren't going to be, you're not going to spend a whole lot of time on those.
not from a, renovate, expand, or new. We're aware of some desires at Public Works based on our initial tours. The other facilities, water, wastewater, and electric seem to be in good shape, and, or one of the solutions for one of the utilities was very clear cut and just needs a new one of this, of the same size. So, some of these projects and recommendations, like roofs and new mechanicals and stuff like that, are not going to be very glamorous. Those are the ones that are tough to sell to the city for funding, but are certainly critical, in serving, the residents, and business partners. We treat Public Works as a first responder, the same as police and fire, because of what they need to do to keep this village running, or city, I'm sorry.
So really the police station, city hall, library synergies, and that's where.
The majority of the effort's going to be spent there in terms of
The others will be
learning
mostly-
about how those facilities need to function properly. The hurdles that they've been jumping over for so many years, or, this facility, for example, the disjointed connection between entrances and departments even.
Would Public Works fall into that category as well?
Mhm.
Okay. And then we got the primaries covered there.
Correct.
And then the others will be more or less a pick list that you're going to incorporate probably from a lot of the background work that you've done as
The
some.
fire, it's definitely, more from the back, more from a budgetary standpoint is more the inclusion of, just planning. We know we are going to need to do these updates and need to plan for them.
So you're going to
Fire
sequence those
Station
into a
2, there's
timeline.
some consideration that needs to be looked
Yeah,
at of
they'll-
whether or not that facility can continue to meet our needs in the long term or not.
Right. Our goal is to provide costs for those and incorporate them into the master plan from a timeline, but very little planning needs to go into those because they seem to be fairly self-sufficient and stuff. And, we'll verify that with, city staff.
Good. Okay. That's all. Anyone else? Alderperson Ruby?
Thank you. Just, I guess, a request, if it's not already part of the plan, what do we do with the abandoned buildings if we end up with them? Is that something that you look into, research, brainstorm?
That's one of the things I've
Okay.
made sure to impress. Like, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring a consultant in for this rather than just is making sure we get that full, all-encompassing picture of this of, now we're planning on vacating the building that the police are currently inhabiting. I'm pointing the right direction.
Yeah, you're
right?
right.
And what are we going to do with it now?
Right.
We need to plan for that. We can't, we don't want to say a repeat of the library here of a building just sitting vacant for 5 years or whatever. We need to plan. So.
Okay, great, thank you.
Alderperson Mayor?
So we have a downtown master plan as well as these facility studies. I think that since the slump from the pandemic is resolving itself now, that we're seeing a lot more need for parking. Is it possible for you to incorporate parking into some of your recommendations for the downtown area here?
For the downtown area as a whole, or
Well,
specific
for
to these?
municipality need, which clearly needs parking.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of a key component is we've, the parking for the police station while it seems to be fairly adequate, it's not secure for, police vehicles.
Right.
And then the parking here, obviously you're sharing parking, right next door. You've got the street parking, you got parking in the alley, through the not an exit, which is my favorite part of your building. So, downtown is always going to be parking tight, during these months. But yeah, certainly within these, with respect to these facilities, addressing parking will be part of it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that we can see that the parking on the other side of the police station is kind of out of sight, out of mind for people, even though there's always spots there. It doesn't get utilized, and those businesses along that lot aren't thriving with all that parking. But there is a strong need for it down where all these restaurants that everybody loves
It is, and
are
it's,
located.
I live in the village of Clarendon Hills, and the commuter lot is right downtown and directly adjacent to our tiny little downtown, and nobody parks there. They will circle the block, our little triangle, for 20 minutes to find that one perfect spot right in front of the restaurant instead of walking a half a block. So
Right, right.
I get it, or I don't get it, but yeah, it's a challenge.
Okay. You mentioned that you're going to have Leopardo on board for cost estimating. I don't think historic preservation work is in FGM's strong suit, or am I wrong about that?
We've worked on historic structures extensively over the years. We traditionally do have a historic consultant on board, not currently at this time for these projects at this kind of concept phase, but we will not hesitate to reach out to them if, to our friends and colleagues in that industry if, we get to a point where we want to have that discussion. And, we're not opposed to bringing someone on board for a meeting or to help us assist, at no additional cost to the contract, because that would just be part of the service that we haven't identified yet, but we always kind of keep a contingency within our fee in order to, address the unknown.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Alderperson Bowring?
Sorry, just to follow up on what Alderperson Mayer was bringing up. So given that I think there has been some expressed interest in really paying attention to and preserving the oldest part of the library building at a minimum, I guess I just wanted to impress upon you that I think that there has been in the past a consensus, at least in this body, and probably for other people, given that we are in the historic district, I think that the city council would do well to, hold itself to a similar standard that it holds other entities to. Anyway, so just this may already be well within your guidelines, but just
No, I appreciate that.
make sure that that was kind of brought up.
Yep, having that reinforced is very important. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I take it we're prepared to vote on item B. Would you please read the roll?
Right, Marks?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowring?
Aye.
Bruno?
Bruno, aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Kasserag?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Item 5, public comment and new business. Anyone? Looks like we have things have thinned out a little bit. Any new business? If not, item 6, this evening we have a need to go into a closed session on the discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by Section 2.06 and the 5 ILCS 120-2C21, and collectively negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Moved by Marks, seconded by Kosrog. Would you please read the roll?
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowring?
Aye.
Bruno?
No, aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Kasserag?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
After our closed session, there will be an open session to approve certain closed session minutes and approval of the destruction of certain closed session audio recordings pursuant to 5 ILCS 120-2.06C. Okay, I guess we're prepared to go into closed session. I guess our preference would be to do it here. Everyone else could be excused. We're back in open session, and we need a motion.
Go back into open session.
Moved by Marks, seconded by Kosarog. Voice vote on that. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Item 7, open session to approve certain closed session minutes and approve the destruction of certain closed session audio recordings pursuant to 5 ILCS 120-2.06C. Is there a motion to approve item 7, the approval of certain closed session minutes we will release?
So whoever makes the motion, if you please identify what minutes we are releasing and what tapes are recommended for destruction.
Do you have that?
Chair, yeah, I will. I'll make the motion to release the full closed session minutes from March 21st, 2022, a partial release of November 7th, 2022 closed session minutes, and should these be separate motions? It can be in one. And then for the city council, closed session audio recordings approved for destruction on June 5th, 2023 are the closed session audio recordings from October 2020 through December 2021. That is the motion.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mayor.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? If not, we're prepared to vote. Would you please read the roll?
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowering?
Aye.
Bruno?
Aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Kosarog?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
Let the record show it was unanimous. Okay, that brings us to the end of the meeting. Is there any other business before the committee of the whole? Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Kosarog. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Have a good evening.